is Michelle Joy Phelps, and I'm joined now with Alycia Baumgardner. Alycia, nice to finally meet you. Congratulations, first and foremost, on all of your recent success. Are you still flying high right now?
Still flying high, living on cloud 9. And it's Alycia. We gotta let everybody know that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yes. No, it's okay. But no, I'm enjoying life. Just embracing everything that comes with it.
Right. You briefly spoke about your journey. I've read on several different interviews. You talked about how hard it was for you to get to this point. You even said that at one point you thought that Eddie Hearn and Terri Harper actually underestimated you, may have actually seen something on your resume that maybe think if I took this fight on short notice, it could still be a good win for Terri, which ended up being a big mistake on their part. Talk a bit about that.
Yeah, a lot of people weren't aware of who I was. They know this girl, she's from the US, she has a decent record, 1 loss. And, just being the underdog, I knew that I was going into Terry's backyard. I knew actually for me to be world champion, I told myself it's going to be a challenge. I'm probably going to have to be, the underdog coming as a B-side. And again, when the opportunity came at hand and it was Terri Harper, I'm like, let's take it. Like, I'm full, confident in myself that I can beat her. And I don't care if I have to go to the UK to do so. And, that's what we decided on. And again, we were victorious.
You had a lot of confidence going into it, obviously securing the win, but initially going into someone else's backyard, especially a completely different country like the UK, I mean, were you a little intimidated at the very least?
No, not at all. Because again, I knew going into her backyard, I had to have the confidence. I had to believe in myself that no matter the outcome, I was going to leave with those world titles. And that's just what I had my mind set on, from the press conference to the weigh-ins and to the walkout and to the fight. I kept that same energy and that confidence. And again, we did what we had to.
So when it was all said and done and you won, Boxing Scene recently gave you the female knockout of the year for 2021. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Let's reflect back on that moment. Emotional, to say the least.
Yeah, first off, coming out, I forgot I was in the UK for a second because everyone's booing me. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. But I embraced that energy and I'm just like, yeah, I'm here. I'm going to show you guys who I am. And, just stepping into the ring, the first round just being amazing. I had so many people doubting me and I loved it. I loved all the doubters, the non-believers, because I knew my ability. I knew who I was before the big lights, before the TV fights, you know what I'm saying? So going out there and just dominating the first round, I set the tone and I'm like, hey, I'm here. Second round, I had her hurt. The fourth round, I was timing her and I timed it perfectly. And she ran right into my right hand. And, the ref stepped in. And like I've mentioned before, it felt like I was underwater for a long time. And I finally got to come up for air and just let it out. And just I did it. And it was just a big, just release of emotions. I did it. And it was just so exciting. So exciting.
You said, much like Cambosos, the hunter becomes the hunted.
Yes.
Here we are. So your name has been thrown around, obviously, with the other 2 champions. I just spoke with Michaela Mayer actually about 2 hours ago. And it's funny because I told her, I said, I didn't plan to have you both on the same day. It just happened to fall that way. She said, in response to some of the things you said, she's like, I think she took it personal that if I said at first she was coming for Terri. So now that you're the one with the belts, she's coming for you. It's nothing personal. It's just part of the game. Is it personal for you? Because it seems like there's some real
No, this is what it is. It is personal because when somebody, there's a difference when someone speaks about somebody and then they speak on them. Michaela was speaking on me oh, who says that Alycia is a puncher? Oh, look at her resume. It was all down talk. It was nothing positive. So again, when I went into the ring and I proved that I was a puncher, that I can box, and that, I am who I am and the best at 130, I proved that. And so I think you know, obviously I have the world title. She's going to want to fight me. I'm going to want to fight her. But the talk was just different. The talk was different. And so
You
for
felt
me,
disrespectful.
yeah, it was in a more disrespectful way. Like, give me my credit, because you know, I didn't have the TV fight. I didn't have the best promoter, but I had my chance and I made that opportunity for what it was, and I had an outstanding performance. Like, she's not doing that. You're not getting knockouts like I am. And I went over there as the underdog again and knocked Terri Harper out in the 4th round. So like, that speaks volumes. That speaks a lot of volumes from, oh, well, who is this girl? No, it's Alycia, you know? So that's just how I felt about it.
So she said that their team, which reached out to Eddie Hearn, which congratulations on the co-promotion deal between King's promotion as well as Matchroom now. It's a multi-fight deal, correct?
Yes, yep.
Okay. So she said they reached out, but that Eddie has other plans for you right now, that he wants to see you and Michaela Choi fight first. And then you guys can go on for a big undisputed fight, you know, obviously, respectfully, whoever wins the fight between you and Michaela Choi. But she does want the fight with you. She does itch, I guess, the same way you want to fight her. Do you stop Michaela Mayer?
Yeah, I do. I definitely do. I stop Michaela.
What about Michaela Choi? You haven't said too much about her. Is it just all business, get in the ring, no trash talk to her, or what do you? Are there any weaknesses that you see in her?
Well, you know, right now my my focus is my mandatory. That's who's next, and you know, Choi is next after her. So again, when that fight comes at hand, you know, I'm sure there'll be some words going back, but I just know that I'm confident in who I am. Right. I believe that I'm the best at 130 and will become undisputed at 130. So again, that's just, I believe in me.
Well, I think one of the beautiful things is by the end of this year, there will be an undisputed champion.
Possibly, you know, again, just depending, you know how boxing is. It's up and down, you know, negotiating, going back, you know. And here's the thing that I want people to understand. When we build a fight, especially a women's fight that is still being, you know, brought into the light and breaking barriers, we have to do it a certain way. We have to build the fight. We have to build the story. We have to allow people to know, oh, that's Alycia. Oh, that's Michaela. You know what I'm saying? When we have with these big fights, that's what the audience wants. And that's how we give a better fight. And it needs to be built. You know, a lot of people want to see Michaela. Michaela's best performance was with Hamadouche, period. My best performance was against Terri Harper. They want to see that again. They want to see more of Michaela. They want to see more of Alycia. So when you have those, you build a story, you build a fight, and then you get this big fight at Undisputed. And so, yeah, I could fight Michaela in my next fight, but for what? It's not building. We're trying to build long-term longevity for the sport and not short-term, because I just see the bigger picture of things. That's how I see it, not the short term.
So another thing that I had mentioned with Michaela, and I want to know what your opinion is on this, is the 3-minute rounds, right? She says like at one push, she goes, I go back and forth with it, because on one hand, why do 3-minute rounds if we're not getting paid more for the 3-minute rounds? But then on the flip side to that, as pioneers in the sport, because you guys are doing that right now, you're paving a way that will make women's boxing easier one day, right? So when you're initially doing something, it's going to be difficult, and you're not going to be rewarded in the ways that you probably should. Probably in like 10 years time, you're going to get girls who are getting paid a hell of a lot more, and you're going to look back and be like, that sucks that we didn't get those opportunities, but you helped make it possible. So when it comes down to it, like, would you like to see like the undisputed fight for 3-minute rounds?
You know, I think for a fight like that, I think 3 minutes would be great, but I also think 2 minutes would be great, because again, in a sense, that separates, you know, the women and the men. And I think as women, we still dominate in the 2 minutes. We can still dominate in the 3 minutes as well. But I guess it just depends on the fight. You know, some people don't want to see a boring fight that's 3 minutes long. I'll watch a 2-minute fight, you know, I prefer that, you know, just being honest. But if it's a good, high quality fight, you know, I could see 3 minutes being that, but also the pay being higher, because again, that's an extra minute, and we don't get paid by the round. So
I would imagine that if it was 3 minutes rounds, that's sort of something you can negotiate to make, you know, your pay higher.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You have a history in wrestling.
I do.
So, you know, down the line, would you ever consider MMA?
I would. I think as an athlete, I like competition. I love the challenge. I love being able to prove myself and just, build a legacy for who I am. And so, yeah, I never say never. So it could be a possible chance.
Yeah, we've seen some of the girls go on and do MMA. I mean, it sucks that MMA has, I guess, more success with women than boxing does at this point. I mean, I see it turning the tide turning just a bit, but that's definitely something I think that you would fit right in with. You have
Yeah,
a
I know.
personality, you have a great look, you sell yourself, which is exactly what you need to do in the industry. You've seen, Clarissa Shields go on and do it, Heather Hardy, Amanda
Hmm.
Serrano. So you never know.
Yeah, I think it's great. Again, just being like all around, like I'm just an all around athlete. I don't mind it, so why not?
So one day, we never know if you should decide to move up. We are looking at the potential fight between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. Never know what that can lead to down the line. Who do you see winning that fight? Because genuinely, I, like many people, feel very split about it.
I do too. I think it's a 50-50 fight. The qualities Amanda has, Katie doesn't have. The qualities that Katie has, Amanda doesn't have. And again, that fight is big. I think the styles make fights. And so again, it's a big toss up because I would say off their last two performances, I don't think we've seen exactly what we wanted to see from both of them. So to me, that kind of gives me like, 50-50. You know
Right.
what I mean? So it's going to be a great fight though.
Terri Harper is also moving up. She's going to
Yes,
be
I've seen
facing
that.
Heather Hardy. Do you feel like that's a smart move for her? I mean, Michaela Mayer actually said she felt like that was far too soon and she shouldn't be taking that fight straight away. But what are your thoughts on it?
I think, as a fighter, you're hungry to get back. To me, I salute Terri Harper for picking a fighter like Heather Hardy. That's what I want. That's what I would want. When
Mhm.
I came back from off my injury for being off for almost 2 years, I fought a quality opponent, same opponent that Michaela fought. I didn't want something that someone's just going to lay down. And so again, credit to Terri. And I think that's just the mindset that you have to have as a fighter,
Mhm.
and only you know what you're capable of doing. It only Terri knows that she's able to step in the ring with Heather Hardy, and however that outcome is, Terri made that decision. You know what I mean? So like that's the confidence again that you have to have within yourself.
Mhm.
So credit to her.
Just out of curiosity, I know that you said, overall you've always been an athlete. So boxing just sort of came natural. I would imagine for you. Um, why specifically boxing? What was it about it that made you fall in love with the sport?
You know, when I left wrestling and I went to boxing, I'm like, oh, another guy sport, right? Like just male dominated. But in my mind, I'm like, I didn't put gender on it. I just put, I'm a hard worker. Like I work hard and against or with my male counterparts. So when I started boxing, I'm like, yo, like I'm doing amazing against these guys. And for me, it was just, that's how I built my confidence of being a woman, being in a male dominated sport, being in a room full of men, speaking on my behalf. And I think the confidence came from boxing and just, again, being around tough people who pushed me and didn't, separate me because I was a woman.
Mhm.
So I would say boxing gave me that extra edge to really, face this world because it's a cruel world and boxing is just as cruel. So you have to, be able to have a solid foundation within yourself to be in the sport like boxing and just being a woman outside of that. So
Mhm. Amen. Lastly, I forgot to ask you, there's talks that Holly Holm may actually be coming back, wanting to make a return to boxing. What do you make of that?
I think that's great. I think right now women should do whatever they want to do, right? Like if you want to do it. Like why not? I think that we're just breaking barriers and just breaking things that is not considered the norm. Like I'm all for it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be actually pretty cool because you know what? When I look back on previous interviews, it felt really bad because like when Holly Holm was fighting, there wasn't much attention. There weren't very many opportunities. And that's why she
Mm-hmm.
made her move over to the MMA, because she felt like she didn't get any respect in boxing at all. So it would be really nice to see her come back now that things are changing, thankfully.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's just great for women's sports overall, you know?
Right. Hey, Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking this icon right here and hit the bell button below so that you can receive an alert every time we upload a new video.